That's not trash. That's evidence.
The morning Frank Mallory told me to leave my house was the same morning I found my wife's second cell phone hidden in her yoga bag. Funny how life works. You spend years thinking you're paranoid, then discover you weren't paranoid enough. I'm Greg Norris, 43 years old, maintenance engineer for the city's water treatment facility. Not glamorous work, but it pays the bills and keeps the lights on in our suburban split level. My wife Carla runs creative at Morrison & Associates, one of those glass and steel advertising agencies downtown where everyone wears black and drinks kombucha. We used to laugh about our differences. She'd joke about my blue-collar hands, and I'd tease her about her obsession with designer coffee. These days, we barely speak unless it's about mortgage payments or whose turn it is to take out the trash. That Tuesday morning in October, I was dragging our garbage bins to the curb when Frank appeared like smoke. The guy was new to the road, maybe 6'2", built like a linebacker gone soft, with graying hair and eyes that had seen too much. Most garbage men wave and move on. Frank studied me like I was a puzzle he couldn't solve. "You Greg Norris?" he asked, his voice rough as sandpaper. "Yeah, something wrong with our pickup?" He glanced toward the house where Carla's BMW sat in the driveway. She was still inside, getting ready for another early meeting at the agency. "You need to leave this house before it happens," Frank said quietly. "Tonight?" I laughed. "Before what happens?" Instead of answering, Frank lifted his shirt. Across his barrel chest was a tattoo, intricate black lines forming some kind of symbol I didn't recognize. It looked like a snake wrapped around a dagger with numbers underneath. "See this?" he said. "Your wife's got the same one. Small version, on her left ankle." My mouth went dry. Carla did have a new tattoo. She'd claimed it was some Pinterest design she'd fallen in love with. I'd barely looked at it. "Who are you?" I asked. "Someone who knows what's coming." Frank dropped his shirt and grabbed our trash bin. "Don't tell your wife about this conversation. And Greg, tonight means tonight." He walked away, leaving me standing on the sidewalk with a dozen questions and no answers. I should have listened. Inside, Carla was rushing around the kitchen, grabbing her travel mug and laptop bag. She looked stunning as always, auburn hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless, wearing a black dress that probably cost more than I made in a week. "You're up early," she said without looking at me. "Garbage day." I watched her face carefully. "Hey, can I ask you something about that tattoo you got?" She froze for just a second, barely noticeable unless you were looking for it. "What about it?" "Just curious where you found the design. Guy outside said he'd seen it before." "What guy?" Now she was looking at me and something cold flickered in her green eyes. "New garbage man, Frank something." Carla's expression smoothed out, but I caught the tension in her shoulders. "I told you, I found it online. Pinterest has thousands of designs." "Yeah," I said, "and I'm the tooth fairy." She forced a laugh. "You're being weird, Greg. I'm late for my meeting." After she left, I went through her yoga bag more carefully. The second phone was a cheap Android, password protected. When I tried to turn it on, the battery was dead. I found a charger that fit and plugged it in, then headed to work. All day, I couldn't shake Frank's warning. The guy had prison written all over him, the way he carried himself, the way his eyes never stopped moving, that tattoo. And if Carla really had the same symbol, I left work early and drove home, my mind spinning scenarios. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe Frank was just some ex-con trying to mess with people's heads. Maybe Carla's new secretiveness was about something innocent, a surprise party, a new job, anything but what my gut was telling me. The fake grenade was sitting on my windshield when I got to the car. It looked real enough to make my heart stop, military green with a pin and everything. But when I picked it up, it was obviously plastic, the kind of thing you'd buy at a costume shop. There was a note attached. "Mind your own business." That's one way to spice up a Monday, I muttered, though it was Tuesday and I wasn't feeling particularly witty. I looked around the parking lot, a few other cars, but no one watching that I could see. The water treatment plant wasn't exactly a high-traffic area. Whoever had left this knew where I worked, knew my car. My hands were shaking as I drove home. Carla's BMW was already in the driveway, which was unusual. She rarely got home before 7. I found her in the kitchen, pouring wine with hands that weren't quite steady. "You're home early," I said. "Slow day." She didn't meet my eyes. "How was work?" I pulled the fake grenade from my jacket pocket and set it on the counter between us. "Found this on my car. Any idea who might want to send me a message?" Carla stared at the thing like it might explode. What is that? A conversation starter. I kept my voice level, along with a note telling me to mind my own business. Now, what business might that be, Carla? How would I know? But her voice had gone up half an octave. Maybe it has something to do with matching tattoos or second cell phones hidden in yoga bags? The wine glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the kitchen floor. Red wine spread across the white tiles like blood. I don't know what you're talking about, she said, but we both knew she was lying. That night, I barely slept. Every sound made me jump. The house settling, the neighbor's cat on the fence, the wind rattling windows. Around 3 a.m., I got up and checked all the locks, then sat in the living room with a baseball bat across my knees. Frank had said tonight. What exactly was supposed to happen tonight? Nothing did. But the next morning, everything changed. I was leaving the hardware store Wednesday evening when they jumped me. 3 guys in hoodies, faces covered, moving like they'd done this before. The parking lot was nearly empty, just my pickup truck and a few other vehicles under the flickering streetlights. Hey, one of them called out. You Greg Norris? I should have run. Instead, I stopped and turned around like an idiot. Yeah, do I know you? The first punch caught me in the stomach, doubling me over. The second one hit my kidney, sending fire up my spine. I went down hard on the asphalt, tasting blood. Stay away from Carla's business, one of them whispered, his voice muffled by the hoodie. This is your only warning. They kicked me a few more times, ribs, back, legs, then melted away into the darkness. I lay there for maybe 10 minutes, inventory my damage. Nothing broken, but I'd be feeling it for weeks. A couple found me and called an ambulance. The EMTs wanted to take me to the hospital, but I convinced them I was fine, just bruised ribs and wounded pride. They cleaned up the cuts and sent me home with advice to see a doctor if the pain got worse. Carla was waiting when I walked through the front door, moving like an old man. Jesus, Greg, what happened? Got mugged in the hardware store parking lot. I watched her face carefully. 3 guys, they seemed to know my name. Did you call the police? Not yet. Figured I'd clean up first. She helped me to the bathroom, and for a moment it felt like old times. Her hands gentle as she cleaned the cut on my forehead, her voice soft with concern, but I caught her looking at me in the mirror with an expression I couldn't read. Maybe you should stay home tomorrow, she said. Maybe I should figure out who wants me beaten up. Her hands stilled. What do you mean? They mentioned your name, Carla. Said to stay away from your business. What business would that be? I have no idea. But she was lying again, and we both knew it. The next morning, I called in sick and drove to the hospital anyway. Not for my ribs, for the security footage. I knew the parking lot had cameras, and I wanted to see if I could identify my attackers. The security guard was sympathetic but unhelpful. Footage gets wiped every 72 hours unless there's a police report. You want to file one? I was considering it when I saw him, Vincent D'Amato, walking through the hospital lobby like he owned the place. Tall, athletic, wearing an expensive suit and a smile that made my skin crawl. I'd seen him before, at Carla's office Christmas party last year. He'd introduced himself as a consultant, but something about him had set my teeth on edge. Now he was here, at the hospital where I'd been treated for a beating. That couldn't be coincidence. Our eyes met across the lobby. His smile widened and he gave me a little wave before disappearing through the exit. I followed him outside, but he was already getting into a black Mercedes with tinted windows. As he drove away, I memorized the license plate. Back home, I did some research. Vincent Vin D'Amato had a record: assault, extortion, suspected ties to organized crime. No convictions in the last 5 years, but the kind of guy who made his living in the gray areas of the law. And he was connected to my wife somehow. I was still researching when Carla got home. She found me at the computer scrolling through newspaper articles about D'Amato's various arrests. "What are you doing?" she asked. I turned the screen toward her. "Recognize him." She barely glanced at the photo. "Should I?" Vincent D'Amato, Vin to his friends. Ring any bells? I don't think so. Funny, I saw him at the hospital today, right after I was asking about security footage from my beating. Then I remembered he was at your office Christmas party. Carla's face went pale. Lots of people were at that party. But not lots of people have criminal records for assault and extortion. You're being paranoid, Greg. Am I? Because yesterday, 3 guys who knew my name beat the heck out of me and told me to stay away from your business. Today, a known criminal shows up at the same hospital where I was treated. Either I'm the unluckiest guy in town or someone's sending me a message. Carla sat down heavily in the chair across from me. For a moment, I thought she might actually tell me the truth. Instead, she said, "Maybe we should go to the police." Maybe we should. But first, maybe you should tell me what kind of business you're really in. I work at an advertising agency, Greg. You know that. Do I? Because lately you're working a lot of nights, taking a lot of private calls, and hanging around with guys who have rap sheets. I don't... She stood up abruptly. I can't do this right now. I'm going to Sierra's. Sierra Lane was Carla's best friend and biggest enabler. If Carla was hiding something, Sierra would know about it. Running away won't solve this, I called after her. Neither will your paranoid accusations, she shot back, grabbing her purse and keys. After she left, I sat in the quiet house and tried to make sense of everything. The garbage man's warning, the fake grenade, the beating, Vincent D'Amato showing up at the hospital, and Carla lying about all of it. I went upstairs to our bedroom and searched through her things more carefully. In the back of her jewelry box, I found a business card. V. D'Amato, security consultant. There was a phone number and an address downtown. Security consultant, right. I also found receipts. Expensive dinners at restaurants I'd never been to, hotel charges for places in the city, lingerie purchases from boutiques that cost more than my monthly salary. All recent, all paid for with a credit card I didn't recognize. My wife was having an affair with a criminal, and somehow I was the one in danger. Thursday morning, I called in sick again and drove to Vincent D'Amato's office address. It turned out to be a suite in a glass tower downtown. The kind of building where legitimate businesses paid premium rent for the prestige address. The directory in the lobby listed D'Amato Security Solutions on the 15th floor. I took the elevator up and found a reception area that screamed money. Leather furniture, original artwork, a blonde receptionist who looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine. "I'd like to see Mr. D'Amato," I told her. "Do you have an appointment?" "Tell him Greg Norris is here. He'll know why." She made a phone call, spoke quietly for a moment, then hung up with a frown. "I'm sorry, Mr. D'Amato is unavailable. Would you like to schedule something for next week?" "Sure. How about never? Is never good for him?" I left before she could call security, but I'd learned what I needed to know. D'Amato was running a legitimate business, at least on paper, which made him more dangerous, not less. From the office building, I drove to Morrison & Associates. Carla's BMW was in the parking garage, along with a familiar black Mercedes. I found a spot where I could watch both cars and settled in to wait. At 12:30, they came out together, Carla and Vincent walking close enough to be intimate but not quite touching. They got into his Mercedes and drove away. I followed them to an expensive restaurant in the Arts District, the kind of place where lunch costs more than most people's grocery budget. Through the window, I watched them share a bottle of wine and hold hands across the table. My wife was definitely having an affair. But it was more than that. The way Vincent kept checking his phone, the way Carla glanced nervously around the restaurant. They weren't just lovers sneaking around. They were planning something. I took photos with my phone, then drove home to think. That evening, Carla came home with takeout from my favorite Chinese place and a bottle of expensive wine. "Peace offering?" she said, holding up the bags. "For what?" "For being weird lately. I know work's been stressful and I haven't been around much." We ate dinner like a normal couple, talking about safe topics. The weather, the neighbor's new fence, a movie she wanted to see. But I kept watching her face, looking for tells. "How was lunch today?" I asked casually. "Lunch? Yeah, you left the office around 12:30. Figured you might have gone somewhere nice." She took a sip of wine, buying time. "Just grabbed a sandwich. Why?" "Just curious. You've been eating out a lot lately." "Have I?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the photos I'd taken at the restaurant. Carla and Vincent holding hands, looking very much like lovers. The color drained from her face. "Greg, I can explain." "Can you?" "Because this looks pretty clear to me." "It's not what you think." "Really?" "Because it looks like my wife having lunch with a known criminal. A criminal who showed up at the hospital after I got beaten up by guys who mentioned your name." Carla set down her wine glass and looked me straight in the eye. "Vincent isn't a criminal. He's a security consultant. With a rap sheet. That was years ago. He's legitimate now. And you're what? Helping him with his image? Is that why you're holding hands and sharing wine?" She was quiet for a long moment. Then, "I'm in love with him." The words hit me like a physical blow. I'd suspected it, but hearing her say it out loud was different. How long? I asked. 6 months. And the plan is what? You leave me for him? It's complicated. Complicated how? Another long pause. Vincent has some business interests that require discretion. What kind of business interests? I can't tell you that. Can't or won't? Both. I stood up from the table. Let me see if I understand this. You're having an affair with a guy who has criminal connections. I get beaten up and threatened to stay away from your business. And now you're telling me it's complicated, but you can't explain why. Greg, are you in some kind of trouble? Because if you are, we can figure this out, but you have to tell me the truth. For a moment, I thought she might. Her face softened, and I saw a flash of the woman I'd married. Then it was gone. The truth is, I don't love you anymore, she said. I haven't for a long time. That's not what I meant, and you know it. It's what I meant. I looked at her sitting there, beautiful and cold and completely unreachable. Fine. You want Vincent D'Amato? You can have him. But I want to know why I'm getting death threats over your love life. Nobody's threatening to end you. 3 guys beat the heck out of me and told me to stay away from your business. What would you call it? A misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Right. Well, here's something that won't be misunderstood. I want you out of this house. Greg, tonight, go stay with Vincent or Sierra or whoever, but I want you gone. She stared at me for a moment, then nodded. Fine, but we'll need to talk about the divorce. Yeah, we will. She went upstairs to pack, and I sat in the kitchen, staring at the remains of our peace offering dinner. 20 years of marriage, ending with takeout containers and accusations. But I was done being the victim in whatever game they were playing. It was time to start playing back. Friday morning, I woke up alone in my house for the first time in 20 years. Carla had packed 2 suitcases and left without saying goodbye. Her car was gone from the driveway, leaving an oil stain on the concrete like a bruise. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, planning my next move. If my wife was mixed up with criminals, I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with. And if Vincent D'Amato thought he could have me beaten up without consequences, he was about to learn otherwise. My first stop was the public library, where I spent 3 hours researching everything I could find about Vincent D'Amato and his security consulting business. What I learned wasn't encouraging. D'Amato Security Solutions was a legitimate company, but it specialized in what the business world politely called problem resolution. Companies hired them to deal with union disputes, activist protests, and other situations where traditional security wasn't enough. Reading between the lines, they were professional intimidators. Vincent himself had been arrested multiple times, but never convicted of anything serious. The charges were always dropped or pleaded down to misdemeanors. Either he was very lucky or very well connected. From the library, I drove to the Dropout, a bar in my neighborhood where the bartender Darla knew everyone's business. If there were rumors about Vincent D'Amato or my wife, she'd have heard them. "Greg!" she called out when I walked in. "Heard you got roughed up the other night. You okay?" Word travels fast. Honey, in this neighborhood, everything travels fast. What happened? I ordered a beer and gave her the sanitized version. 3 guys jumped me in a parking lot, probably random. Random, my A, Darla said. Nobody gets jumped random anymore. It's always about something, money, women, or business. What if it's about all 3? She leaned closer, lowering her voice. You asking hypothetically, or you got something specific in mind? I pulled out my phone and showed her Vincent's photo from the newspaper articles. You ever see this guy around? Darla studied the picture, frowning. Maybe. He looks familiar, but I can't place him. Why? He's involved with my wife. Involved how? The way that ends marriages? Crap, Greg, I'm sorry. She poured herself a shot and knocked it back. You want me to ask around? See what people know about him? Would you? Of course, but be careful, okay? Guys who get other guys beaten up don't usually stop at one warning. I finished my beer and drove home, feeling like I was finally making progress. It wasn't much, but it was something. That evening, my neighbor, Mrs. Krantz, knocked on the door. She was 70-something, lived alone, and made it her business to know everything that happened on our street. Greg, dear, I wanted to check on you. I saw Carla leave with her suitcases. We're having some problems. I figured as much. She's been getting a lot of visitors lately. Different cars in the driveway, at odd hours. This was news to me. What kind of visitors? Well, there's that man with the black car, very handsome, but something about him. She shuddered. And then there are the others. Others. Rough-looking men. They come at night, never stay long. I've been meaning to ask if everything was all right. When was the last time you saw them? Tuesday night. 2 men in a van. They sat outside for maybe an hour, just watching the house. Tuesday night. The same night Frank had warned me to leave. Mrs. Krantz, if you see anyone like that again, would you call the police? Of course, dear. Are you in some kind of trouble? I'm starting to think I might be. After she left, I did a thorough search of the house. In the basement, I found something that made my blood run cold. A small surveillance camera hidden behind the water heater. It was wireless, battery-powered, and had been there for at least a month based on the dust pattern around it. Someone had been watching me in my own home. I left the camera where it was, but disconnected the battery. If they were monitoring me, I wanted them to think it had simply malfunctioned. That night, I barely slept. Every sound outside made me reach for the baseball bat I'd started keeping beside the bed. Around 2 a.m., I heard a car engine idling in the street. I looked out the bedroom window and saw a dark van parked under the broken streetlight, exactly where Mrs. Krantz said she'd seen one before. I watched for 20 minutes, but nobody got out. Finally, the van drove away. Saturday morning, I called Detective Ray Weller at the city police. We'd worked together on a case involving vandalism at the water treatment plant, and he'd struck me as a straight shooter. Greg, what can I do for you? I need to report some threats and harassment. Come in Monday morning, we'll file a report. This can't wait until Monday. Something in my voice must have convinced him, because he agreed to meet me at the station that afternoon. I brought everything: photos of Vincent and Carla, the fake grenade, documentation of the surveillance camera, Mrs. Krantz's statement about the suspicious visitors. Weller listened patiently, taking notes. This is a heck of a situation, he said finally. But I'm not sure what we can charge anyone with. The assault is he said, she said without witnesses. The surveillance camera was in your own house, so technically no crime there. And having lunch with someone isn't illegal even if they have a record. So I'm supposed to just wait for them to escalate. I didn't say that. Let me make some calls, see what I can find out about D'Amato's current activities. In the meantime, document everything. And Greg, watch your back. I left the police station feeling frustrated but not defeated. At least now there was an official record of what was happening. That evening, Carla called. We need to talk, she said. I'm listening. Not over the phone. Can you meet me somewhere? Where? The coffee shop on 5th Street. 1 hour. I almost said no, but I needed answers, and this might be my only chance to get them. Fine. 1 hour. I got to the coffee shop early and chose a table near the back where I could see the entrance. Carla arrived exactly on time, looking nervous and tired. She'd lost weight in just 2 days, and there were dark circles under her eyes. You look like heck, I said as she sat down. Thanks, you're not exactly glowing yourself. What did you want to talk about? She ordered a latte and stared at it without drinking. I want you to drop this investigation. What investigation? Don't play dumb, Greg. I know you've been asking questions about Vincent, following us around, talking to the police. How do you know about the police? Vincent has friends in a lot of places, including the police department, including everywhere that matters. I leaned back in my chair, studying her face. Are you trying to warn me or threaten me? Both, I guess. Why? What's Vincent involved in that's so important you're willing to throw away 20 years of marriage? It's not about Vincent. Then what's it about? She was quiet for a long moment, staring out the window at the evening traffic. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. It's about staying alive. What do you mean, staying alive? I asked. Carla glanced around the coffee shop nervously. Can we go somewhere more private? Like where? Your truck, we can drive around. I didn't like the idea of being alone with her in a confined space, but I needed to hear what she had to say. We left the coffee shop and got into my pickup. Drive toward the industrial district, she said. I pulled out of the parking lot and headed west, toward the part of town where the factories and warehouses were. The streets were mostly empty on a Saturday evening. Start talking, I said. Vincent isn't just a security consultant. He's involved with some people who don't forgive mistakes. What kind of people? The kind who had you beaten up as a gentle reminder? Gentle reminder of what? To mind your own business? I stopped at a red light and turned to look at her. Carla, I need you to explain this from the beginning. What did you get involved in? It started innocently enough. Vincent's company needed help with their marketing materials. Morrison and Associates took on the contract, and I was the account manager. When was this? About 8 months ago. Vincent and I started working together, and one thing led to another. You had an affair. Yes, but it wasn't just about the love, Greg. Vincent made me feel alive again, important, like I mattered. The light turned green, and I drove through the intersection. Go on. After we'd been seeing each other for a few weeks, Vincent told me about his other business interests. Import-export, he called it. What kind of imports and exports? The kind that don't go through customs. My stomach dropped. Pills? Among other things. Jesus Christ, Carla. It wasn't supposed to involve me directly. I was just helping with the legitimate side of his business. But then, one of his shipments got intercepted by the DEA. When? Last month. Vincent lost a lot of money, and worse, he lost credibility with his partners. They blamed him for being careless. What does this have to do with me? Vincent told them he was being watched, that someone was asking questions, making him nervous. He mentioned your name. I pulled over to the side of the road and put the truck in park. He what? He told them you were suspicious of him, that you might cause problems. They decided to send you a message. The beating. Yes. And the surveillance camera in my basement? That was Vincent's idea. He wanted to make sure you weren't gathering evidence. I sat in the driver's seat trying to process what she was telling me. My wife had gotten involved with pills dealers, and I was paying the price for her poor judgment. Why didn't you just leave him? I asked. When you found out what he was really involved in? Because by then it was too late. I knew too much. Vincent said his partners would never let me walk away. So you decided to throw me under the bus instead? I tried to protect you. I told Vincent you weren't a threat, that you were just being a jealous husband. Apparently he didn't believe you. No, and now things are getting worse. Worse how? The DEA is investigating Vincent's business. They've been asking questions, following people. Vincent thinks someone's cooperating with them. Someone like who? Someone like you. I stared at her. I haven't talked to the DEA. I know that. But Vincent doesn't believe me anymore. He thinks you're working with law enforcement. Because I went to the police about getting beaten up. Because you went to the police at all. A car drove past us slowly, and Carla ducked down in her seat. Who was that? I asked. I don't know. Maybe nobody. I'm just paranoid now. Carla, we need to go to the authorities. Tell them everything you know about Vincent's operation. I can't do that. Why not? Because then I'll definitely end up dead, and so will you. We're going to end up dead anyway if we don't do something. Maybe. But at least this way we have a chance. I started the truck and pulled back onto the road. Where do you want me to drop you off? I'm staying at Sierra's apartment. Does Sierra know about all this? Some of it. She knows I'm having an affair, but not about the rest. We drove in silence for a few minutes. Then Carla said, Greg, I'm sorry. I never wanted you to get hurt, but you were willing to let it happen to save yourself. Yes, at least she was being honest. I dropped her off at Sierra's building and watched her walk to the entrance. She looked back once, and for a moment I saw the woman I'd married 20 years ago. Then she disappeared inside, and I drove home alone. Sunday morning, I was drinking coffee and trying to figure out my next move when someone knocked on my front door. I looked through the peephole and saw Frank, the garbage man, standing on my porch. I opened the door. It's Sunday, no pickup today. We need to talk, he said. I let him in and offered him coffee. He accepted and sat at my kitchen table, looking around the house like he was memorizing the layout. You didn't leave, he said. No, that was a mistake. So I'm learning. Carla told me some things last night. Like what? I gave him the abbreviated version. The affair, Vincent's pills business, the surveillance, the threats. Frank listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, She didn't tell you everything. What do you mean? Vincent D'Amato isn't just involved with pills dealers. He's involved with my former associates. Your former associates? Frank rolled up his sleeves and showed me more tattoos. Numbers, symbols, names. I spent 15 years in federal prison. The last 5, I was part of an organization that controlled pills distribution in 3 states. And now I'm cooperating with federal law enforcement. Have been for 2 years. I set down my coffee cup. You're undercover. My cover got blown last week when someone in Vincent's organization recognized me. That's why I warned you to leave. Someone recognized you as what? A federal informant? As someone who knows where the bodies are buried. Literally. My kitchen suddenly felt very small. Are you saying Vincent and his people ended someone? I'm saying Vincent and his people have ended a lot of someone's, and your wife knows about it. That's impossible. Carla might be a lot of things, but she's not a butcher. She doesn't have to pull the trigger to be complicit. Money laundering, providing alibis, helping dispose of evidence. There are lots of ways to be involved in homicide. You think Carla's done those things? I think Carla's in deeper than she told you, and I think Vincent's planning to eliminate anyone who might testify against him. Including her? Including both of you. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the quiet suburban street. Mrs. Krantz was working in her garden. A couple of kids were riding bikes on the sidewalk. Everything looked normal, peaceful. What do you want from me? I asked. Help me bring down Vincent's organization before they end us all. How? Your wife has access to financial records, shipping schedules, client lists, information the FBI needs to make arrests. She'll never cooperate. She will if the alternative is a homicide charge. I turned back to face him. What aren't you telling me, Frank? Last Tuesday night, Vincent's people ended a rival dealer and his girlfriend. Carla was there. Where? At the warehouse where they disposed of the bodies. The room started spinning. I sat down heavily in my chair. You're sure about this? I have photos. He pulled out a cell phone and showed me surveillance pictures taken with a telephoto lens. Vincent and two other men loading what looked like body bags into a van. And in the background, barely visible but unmistakably recognizable, was my wife. Jesus, I whispered. The FBI wants to arrest Vincent's entire organization, but they need someone on the inside to provide evidence. Your wife is perfectly positioned to do that. And if she refuses, then she goes down with the rest of them. I stared at the photos on Frank's phone. 24 hours ago, I thought my biggest problem was a cheating wife. Now I was looking at evidence that she was an accessory to homicide. What do you need me to do? I asked.